There's a 25 0.
Well, I look forward to being here until tomorrow.
Before
That's why I've gotten like a back working for a startup.
No, it's not. And that's what makes it even more. I don't
It's called male high school. Originally it's called high school. That's why
Graduates next month.
What is this?
No, like I literally never finished it. It's my goal to finish.
It's the same thing. Yeah, I had no idea. I was like, oh my god.
I like sunburned.
Yeah, both sides. It's like,
Same
they had something at the very end of the game yesterday. I wasn't happy with that.
Oh, but I did. I was on vacation.
Oh, no. 2-run homer at the end. You know, I mean, I was talking to my buddies. We need to score 2. We got to score 2. And then they were right there. You know? They went right there.
What happened was, he's got really one.
Two people, first home runs of the year.
Yeah.
You would have never thought it. You would have thought it would be some of the other stoppers, like Vargas.
Oh my god. They were actually.
We were up in Mountain.
So when did they start? When did they start the meet?
We went to Carmel.
Oh, so it's like so they lost 3 series. Maybe it's 3.
All of this
Yeah. That's why. Maybe they're like, oh, we're just going to do for 6 hours. No one else going to go against us. No, I'm going to like you. Oh,
So they get to retire.
Cool. Appreciate it.
Now it is. It wasn't working 2 seconds ago.
It's actually not a bad gig if you want to have health insurance. Very important thing.
I think that's it.
There's a lot of stuff on this.
You didn't share any of that.
So then we went on like some nothing. I never said anything.
Yes. I did.
They gave one of them to the Boy Scouts.
Why is it?
Also,
I don't know. It wasn't a discussion.
God knows what they did with it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Well, that's on regular agenda. Right.
They're supposed to keep track of that.
His grandma.
Yeah, we never got. You can ask that.
I'm gonna grumpy one.
Yeah.
Don't you love our children?
Why the person's participating in that.
Yeah.
It's their facility. His grandma.
They're the ones drawing the people, yeah.
Yeah.
Luring children.
Like they're making it worse.
Yeah.
Almost scared.
6. We're having some communication issues here with the microphone, and sometimes it's working and sometimes it isn't. So now it's working, it says. It wasn't when I gavelled, but now we're back in service here. So I'd ask that you all please rise for a brief invocation to be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight, on this night, we as a community are very, very appreciative and thankful for the many hundreds and maybe thousands of hours that people donate to make Batavia a grander and greater and safer and healthier place for us all to live and to work. And tonight, we're going to be acknowledging some of those folks. And we are just so blessed in this town to have such a great working community who's always there to step forward in moments of crisis or trouble, and also people to share good ideas and thoughts about things that are to be done. So I just want to express the community's appreciation and blessing for all the good people that are here in our community that make this such a special place for us all to live and work. And we ask tonight for a special blessing on the city council as we make the decisions before us, knowing that in the hearts and minds of each of them, they are here to do what are always in the very best interests of Batavia. We ask for all these blessings. Amen. Alderman Malay, would you do the Pledge of Allegiance?
Certainly. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ask the city clerk to call the roll.
Barraza.
Here.
Lancey.
Here.
Beck.
Here.
Malay.
Here.
Malone.
Here.
Wolf.
Here.
Solfa.
Here.
Barron.
Here.
Lehman. Absent. Lohman.
Here.
Pieper. Absent. Fehrenbach.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
White.
Here.
12 present, 2 absent.
So we have the necessary quorum to conduct business. Thank all of you for coming. Moving to item number 4, which is a reminder from the chair that if you're going to address us tonight, we ask that you come forward and use the microphone and the podium there, because this is being recorded on BATV, and if you don't speak into the microphone there, probably what you're going to say is not going to be heard if anybody is watching it on TV. And I've had people complain to me about that, so we try hard to get everybody that's going to speak to talk into the microphone. Moving to item number 5, matters from the public for items not on the agenda tonight. Does anybody in the audience wish to address us? Does anybody in the council have anything they wanted to bring up that's not on the agenda? All right, moving to item number 6, which is items to be removed, added, or changed. Do we have anything tonight? Well, moving right along, we're moving to item number 7, which is the consent agenda. And we need to accept and place on file the building report for March 2026.
Yeah, you want me to do that for you?
I'm sorry,
No hurries.
I used to do it all, and now you're here to help me, so thank you.
You're welcome. Your Honor, the consent agenda reads as follows. Accept and place on file building report March 2026. 2026 post-insurance tax compliance. Approvals. Payroll fund totals for 5/8/2026 in the amount of $1,171,738.87. The accounts payable total for the May 18th council meeting in the amount of $4,548,943.71. Approval, City Council Minutes, May 4th, 2026. Resolution 2026-59, amending Title 8, Chapter 1 of City Code related to renewable generation facilities. Ordinance 2026-17, amending Title 8, Chapter 1 of City Code related to renewable generation facilities. Resolution 2026-60-R, authorizing loan forgiveness to Water Street Studios for the loan year commencing March 14th, 2025 through March 13th, 2026. Resolution 2026-63-R, accepting a plat of dedication at 200 North Van Norwick Avenue, Batavia Public School District 101. Resolution 2026-61, authorization for execution of a contract with Alliance Contractors, Inc. for the 2026 Bridge Preventative Maintenance Project. Ordinance 2026-21, variance for building addition and front porch encroachment at 706 Shabana Trail. And Resolution 2026-65-R, grant of subdivision variation at 706 Shabana Trail. Ordinance 2026-20, amendment to the official zoning map to add a planned development overlay district at 912 Main Street. Resolution 2026-64-R, approving a budget amendment to the sewer capital funds. Resolution 2026-62-R, authorizing execution of Task Force Order 26 with Trotter and Associates. And Ordinance 2026-19, variance for percentage of facade as garage at 1303 Killian Drive. Your Honor, I move we accept the consent agenda as read.
Second. A motion and second for the approval of the consent agenda as read. Does there any comments or questions from the council? If not, the clerk call the roll.
Barron.
Aye.
Lohman.
Aye.
Fehrenbach.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Barraza.
Aye.
Lancy.
Aye.
Beck.
Aye.
Malay.
Aye.
Malone.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Solfa.
Aye.
12 yes, no, no, 2 absent.
Motion's approved. All right, moving to item number 8, which is proclamation for Motorcycle Awareness Month. Somebody have this?
I have them, Your Honor. Get to hear me some more.
They followed my instructions and gave it to you, so that's good.
Proclamation. Whereas safety is the highest priority for the highways, streets of our city and state. And whereas the great state of Illinois is proud to be a national leader of motorcycle safety, education, and awareness. And whereas motorcycles are a primary, common, and economical means of transportation that reduces fuel consumption and road wear, and contributes in a significant way to the relief of traffic and parking congestion. And whereas it is especially meaningful that the citizens of our city and state be aware of motorcycles on the roads and recognize the importance of motorcycle safety. And whereas the members of the Abate of Illinois, Inc., a brotherhood aimed towards education, continually promote motorcycle safety, education, and awareness in high school driver education programs and to the general public in our city and state, presenting motorcycle awareness programs to over 120,000 participants in Illinois over the past 9 years. And whereas all motorcyclists should join Abate of Illinois, Inc., in actively promoting a safe operation of motorcycles, as well as promoting motorcycle safety, education, awareness, and respect of the citizens of our city and state. And whereas the motorcyclists of Illinois have contributed extensive volunteerism and money to national and community charitable organizations, and whereas during the month of May, all roadway users should unite in the safety of this. Unite in the safe sharing of roads within the city of Batavia and throughout the great state of Illinois. Now, I, Jeffrey D. Shelkey, Mayor of the city of Batavia, Illinois, do hereby proclaim the month of May 2026 as Motorcycle Awareness Month in the city of Batavia, Illinois. I move we accept the proclamation as read.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have some folks in the audience who'd like to address from Abate? Would you come up and tell us your name and?
We're Kathy and Ken Crowell, and we joined Abate 3 years ago. And we are just so happy to be a part of it. We joined specifically, our friend was killed on Route 38, just 2 blocks east of Route 25. 3 years ago. It'll be 3 years in June. And the person that hit him had no driver's license, no insurance, and was let go. When Abate heard of this, they did everything they could. They contacted the state's attorney. They went to every court date with us and really tried and pushed the state to prosecute this person. Well, the person has now 3 outstanding warrants. He's never showed up in court. And we just felt so honored that someone we didn't even know stepped forward and did so much for us. And that's how we got involved. And we thought if someone can do this for us, we could do this for other people. And we go into the schools and we teach motorcycle safety to the new drivers. We do fundraisers for food and toy runs. We have a Down Riders Fund that if one of our members loses a family member, we donate money to them. We're always out to help people. And right now we're been helping the family of the young man on Route 25 that was killed by a drunk driver. When was it? April? And we're actually going to court this Wednesday again, and we are just making a clear presence in court that the judge needs to be aware this girl's a 3-time DUI, and she still was out driving. And so we try and help and support the family to get the best outcome for them. So I'm honored, and I thank you so much for recognizing us at this meeting tonight. Sorry, just, it gets me. So I appreciate you very much.
We appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Does anybody else from Abate want to speak?
My husband? No. He just got back from Springfield. Our Bay Club went down there this last week and met with legislators and state representatives about the motorcycle laws and safety and what we could expect. And he was down there for 2-3 downstate, pretty much was happy to meet with us and listen to what we had.
We appreciate all that Abate is doing, and I know our police department has an appreciation for you also and has worked over the years very closely to ensure that people who are riding motorcycles and those who are maybe following the motorcycles are, observing the rules and regulations. And, I know that's one of the things, the lights will go on and we'll pull them over if we see some miscalculation on somebody reacting to a motorcycle. So we thank you for your good efforts. We haven't passed it yet, but when we get the proclamation passed, I have to sign it and everything.
Okay.
But give me a call and I'll get you a certified copy of it so that you can have it for the group. But we're kind of in the middle of that business right at this moment, so.
That's all right. We appreciate you taking the time and recognizing us.
Very good.
It's an honor to be here.
Thank you. Does anybody in the council want to say anything? So if we
Motion and a second.
have a motion second, clerk call the roll.
Barron.
Aye.
Lohman.
Aye.
Fehrenbach.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Baraza.
Aye.
Lancy. Beck.
Aye.
Malay.
Aye.
Malone.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Solfa.
Aye.
12 yes, no, 2 absent.
Thank you.
Motion's approved.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
All right, moving then to item number 9, which is Proclamation Pride Month for June 2026. Want to read that one?
Thank you, Your Honor. City of Batavia Mayor's Proclamation, Pride Month 2026. Whereas the City of Batavia is committed to fostering a welcoming, inclusive community that celebrates diversity among its residents and all who visit. And whereas the United States was founded upon the principle that all people are created equal, and that the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are inalienable rights entitled to every individual under equal protection of the law. And whereas the month of June is recognized as Proud Month across the nation in commemoration of the Stonewall riots of June 1969, a pivotal moment in the ongoing movement of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, or questioning, intersex, asexual, and other sexual and gender minority rights. And whereas while meaningful progress has been made toward equality, LGBTQIA+, individuals continue to face discrimination, inequalities, and threats to their safety and well-being. And whereas all residents, especially our youth, deserve to feel safe, valued, empowered, and supported, regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression. And whereas the City of Batavia celebrates the history, contributions, and diversity of its LGBTQIA+ community and remains committed to ensuring an environment where all people can live authentically and free from discrimination. And whereas the City of Batavia will fly the Progress Pride flag throughout the month of June as a visible symbol of support, inclusion, and respect to all LGBTQIA+ community. And whereas Pride Month provides an opportunity to recognize the resilience, achievements, and ongoing contributions of LGBTQIA+ individuals while reaffirming our shared commitment to equality and mutual respect. Now, therefore, I, Jeffrey D. Shelkey, Mayor of the City of Batavia, Illinois, do hereby proclaim the month of June 2026 as Pride Month in the City of Batavia and encourage all residents to celebrate diversity and continue working together to build a community where everyone feels they belong. I motion we move to accept the proclamation as read.
Motion and second to approve the proclamation as read. Any further discussion? Clerk, call the roll. You want to speak? Come on up then. Give us your name. I know who you are, but we need to get it in the record.
Hi, I'm Mary Niekamp. I live in Batavia. What do I know about everybody in this room? That they all live in Batavia. What do I know about the store clerk in Geneva or St. Charles? That they live in Illinois. What do I know about the school teacher in Wyoming? That they live in America. What bonds all of these people together? The laws that govern the places where we live and we work. That's what we have in common. A flag represents a solidarity of identity and our dedication to the laws of a government. Therefore, I do not believe a government center is the right place to fly any other flag other than the flag of our country, our state, and our city. Everything else is a personally and privately held conviction or belief, which as American citizens, we absolutely have the freedom to fly on our personal property. And that is a freedom that I will fight for to my dying day. I think everyone is deserving of respect and dignity, even those who visit this country. And that should go without having to fly a personal flag or anything that doesn't represent the laws of our country in a government center, of our state, our city, and our country. Thank you. And I need to go because I have an out-of-the-country guest in my home. Thank you for listening.
Anybody else?
My name is Kimberly Tarver, and I'm going to speak on behalf of two things. One is personal, and the other is I'm the current chair of the Batavia Township Democrats. We're an organization of community members who believe in and work to advance the principles of the Democratic Party, including equality, dignity, and civil rights for all people. LGBTQ plus equality is a central pillar of that platform. It includes advocating for inclusive healthcare, the protection of transgender rights, federal protections for marriage equality, gender-affirming care, and comprehensive care. And on behalf of the Batavia Township Democrats, I thank you sincerely for your support and for the actions you take and will take to affirm the safety and belonging of LGBTQ plus residents in our community. Your leadership matters more than you may ever fully see. On a personal note, so I'll take my name back off, I've lived in Batavia for 22 years and in Kane County for most of my life. I've served on the Board of Suicide Prevention Services here in Batavia, and I help facilitate a support group for people who have lost a loved one to suicide. Positive representation and visibility are strongly correlated with better health outcomes for LGBTQ youth who are at higher risks of depression, anxiety, suicidal ideation, and suicide. When young people see symbols of acceptance, when they hear leaders affirm their worth, their mental health outcomes improve. Their sense of belonging strengthens. Their hope grows. As someone who works in healthcare education, I also know how essential it is to train future providers to understand and competently serve LGBTQ plus patients. Eliminating systemic health disparities, reducing implicit bias, and building trust are not abstract goals. They are life-saving necessities. Across all of these roles, I see the same truth. The world is not yet a safe place for LGBTQ plus people. These individuals are nearly 4 times more likely to be victims of violent crime and 9 times more likely to experience violent hate crimes compared to their straight, cisgender peers. LGBTQ plus youth face significantly higher risks of depression. Oh, I already said that. We know this from research and from lived experience. Positive representation and visibility save lives. And that's why your support matters. That's why your choices matter. Even something as simple as the pride flag, it is not just a symbol. To many, it's a signal of safety, unity, love, and acceptance. It says, you belong. You are welcome here. You are seen. So thank you for your leadership, your compassion, and for choosing to stand on the side of dignity and inclusion. Your actions ripple outward into homes, classrooms, workplaces, and hearts. They make Batavia a safer, kinder, and more just community for everyone who calls it home. And it is my home. Thank you.
Sylvia Keppel, Batavia. The last speaker kind of made my point. I'll get to that. Well, at least you're not calling it the unity flag anymore. I guess that's progress. It never was about unity. It's about identity politics. Is this flag political? It most certainly is. The last speaker pointed that out. Under the Biden administration in 2022, a YouGov survey on partisan support for various flags showed the rainbow pride flag was viewed as very positive or somewhat positive by 53% of Democrats versus only 13% of Republicans. It gets worse when you look at your progress pride flag. Only 43% of Democrats had a positive view of it versus 9% of Republicans. For 26% overall, only 26% of Americans viewed the progress pride flag favorably. More Americans viewed it negatively. 4 years later, the political divisions continue to grow. The Batavia City Council is supposed to be politically neutral, nonpartisan, representing not Democrats or Republicans, but Batavians. Think about this. I know many on this council are Democrats. How would you feel if a MAGA flag were hoisted on the flagpole outside these chambers? Let that sink in. How would you feel if you saw a MAGA flag out there when you came in tonight? Well, that's how a lot of people feel about the pride flag. The pride flag is not about equality or non-discrimination. It's about shoving controversial viewpoints down people's throats as government-sanctioned views. You're free to post whatever flags you want by your home, but not by the government. You are not going to win anyone over with this flag. You are not going to change any minds or any hearts. Fly only those flags that represent all Batavians, the flags of our country, state, city, and military, the POW/MIA flags. And do not approve a proclamation that glorifies the Stonewall riot, where police were attacked for doing their duty of shutting down a mafia-run bar that had no liquor license and operated in unsanitary conditions with no emergency exits. You support our Batavia police officers, don't you? How would you feel if rioters attacked the Batavia police? No significant injuries to rioters were recorded, but the violent rioters caused injuries to the police. Picture Batavia police officers as I read this. Officer 1, laceration to the right eye and a scratched cornea. Officer 2, bitten on the right wrist. Officer 3, contusion, abrasion to the left orbital area and a fractured left wrist. Officer 4, suffered a cut eye and assorted bruises from flying debris. Rioters tried to burn police officers to death who were trapped in the bar that had no other exit. Firefighters and police reinforcements, fortunately, arrived to put out the flames in time. Rioters threw bottles, bricks, and cobblestones at the police, slashed tires, broke windows, damaged property, pulled up a parking meter to use as a battering ram. It was not a peaceful protest, but a violent riot. What if this had occurred in Batavia? Would you be celebrating it? If you feel like you have to do the politically correct thing and recognize Pride Month, do it with a proclamation that makes no mention of the Stonewall riots, but has language that upholds the dignity of every human being, regardless of race, creed, color, or sexual orientation. No Stonewall, no flag. For the current proclamation, leave out paragraphs 3 and 7, and you have a proclamation that would be more acceptable. Those of us who have differing political views also deserve to feel respected and included, and not discriminated against with hostile words and visual representations. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hello, my name is Ethan Tarver. I am 21 years old, and I grew up and have lived in Batavia my entire life. I went to school at JB Nelson, followed by Rotolo and BHS, graduating in the class of 2023. And I recognize a lot of the last names here because I had class with your kids. I even became an Eagle Scout in this town, and I love it, and I will always be my home. I'm a Batavian through and through, but I'm here today because I'm also much more than that. I speak not only to the council, but to all in this room and to those viewing online. I'd like to remind everybody that the Progress Pride flag, what it truly represents. For the majority of society, it's just a political message, but for me, it's more than that. It's a symbol of love. This love is of any kind. People here today attended to support their queer family and friends. That is love. To serve on city council is an act of love, a love which for some of you has lasted decades. To find a compromise during these meetings is an act of love. To celebrate the city of Batavia is an act of love. To raise a pride flag is an act of love, just as it is to raise the US flag, the Illinois state flag, the flag of Batavia, or a flag to recognize veterans, children with cancer, or awareness for suicide prevention. We should be proud to show our love in this way. I speak now to show my love. To anyone who opposes this measure, I hope that you do so out of love. This flag does exist for you, whether you are queer or straight, trans or cis, as long as you show love. We get to choose what symbols mean to us, not just what they mean to everyone else. So even if you don't identify with this flag, you can still find love in it. Some of you listening may be skeptical, but please consider the possibility that you someday find someone you love dearly is queer, or you may already know. Your time is better spent talking to them than it is opposing this measure. I implore you to ask them in good faith what this flag means to them and what love means to them, and think about what it means to you. If you don't know any queer people, talk to me. When you get home, tell your family that you love them, and tell your friends that you love them. In the meantime, please show your love today by voting yes to this proclamation and to raising the flag. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Good evening. My name is Denise Theobald. I actually live in Geneva, but as I said last week, we love Batavia. My wife and I moved here 5 years ago, and we love the whole area, and we know we are welcome here. I know for some people, raising the flag and this proclamation might seem small or petty, a waste of time, maybe against their belief system, or maybe it just represents something they don't quite understand. But one thing I will tell you, it's not a political message. These are people's lives. And I'm not going to go through what my neighbor just said about statistics and the community and what kids go through when they are in the LGBTQ community, particularly our trans community. I have lots of statistics. I don't think you want to hear them. I think they've been told. But what I want to do tell you is we found community here. And I remember coming out at 32 years old. I knew when I was in high school, but I was scared. Back then was a different time. There were no raising flags in communities. There were no signs in businesses. There were no gay flags in teachers' homerooms, schools, the community at large, anywhere. So I found myself chasing the community when I finally came out because I didn't know if my community would welcome me. I lived in the suburbs, but I chased the community down in the city of Chicago where I found friends, open arms. I remember the first time I went into a restaurant where I can hold my girlfriend's hand, where I can hug freely, where I can love freely and talk about anything I wanted because I was open and proud of it. So I'm not going to go through all these statistics, but I want everyone to know how important, how this symbol really matters. You see, many of us learned to be quiet, to stay invisible, not draw attention to ourselves, because there were and still are real consequences for coming out. And that's why people don't do it. We just want to live freely. And particularly our trans community, which has been turned into a political, I don't know, it's just really unfortunate. A small group of people who just want to live their lives and have been turned into a scapegoat. Evil for just being who they are. So, on one last point, it's also important to understand the economic realities, too, of people my age, people that want to come here and thrive, and invest in businesses and spend a lot of money. We tell our friends to come move here. It's great, because you know what? Batavia is great. They're open and welcoming. Geneva is opening and welcoming. So I ask this council to vote yes on this proclamation and raise this flag proudly and understand that a no vote, no matter what the public says, wrapped in whataboutisms, procedural excuses, or policy technicalities, or just why it shouldn't be raised, what flag should be raised, it's about love. And it simply shows a lack of understanding about this community and struggles that so many people face outside your own lived experience. So I hope you all can find love and know that Batavia is a great community. And I hope it has welcome arms for everyone, because no one wants to have to chase what is already theirs. Thank you.
Anybody else? Council, anybody in the council have anything to say? Alderman Mullen?
Yeah, I thought we could maybe sneak through without sort of long speeches and long debates, but of course, the very nature of this topic is that we can't do that. And from my view, that's one of the very important reasons why we have the proclamations and why we raise the flag. Because as much as I would like to believe we've moved to a place where everyone can be who they want to be and love can be love, we do live in a world where we need to put symbols up to show, to reaffirm, to remind ourselves that love is love, and that we also have some mistakes to atone for. It is worthwhile to mention that the Stonewall incident was a government action. The government showed up with guns and billy clubs and caused chaos. The government did that. The government told a group of people that they cannot exist the way that they truly do, that they can't love who they truly love. And so as a government body, it seems important to me that we take these steps. And so while I do hear the arguments that politics is being thrown in my face or this or that, it was the government that largely created this problem. And though we're a small local government, though we are just a little corner of Illinois, the more we can do to help atone for those sins and to show that we are a community that recognizes who we are and what we've done and how we can make it better, the more we can do that. I kind of joke that this is our price for being on city council, to have to kind of sit through a long meeting of high passions and all of that. But if I'm being honest, I actually really am inspired by this event every year, because we show that we have a community that cares and that wants to be involved and wants to be engaged. And so I want to thank everybody for coming out. For those reasons, I'm a yes. I'll always be a yes on this. And I do think it's important that we remain that way, even if we think the times have changed and things are better. These symbols matter, and it's important that we stand up and we make those claims, because in the past it wasn't like that. And the more we can atone for that, the better.
Anybody else? I would like to just briefly make a couple of comments. When I was first elected the mayor of Batavia, now 44 years ago, I guess it's 45 now. I had a backup team, I would describe them, of 3 individuals who asked me to come to a meeting one day up at Old Holy Cross Church. And the first person that was there was Monsignor Donovan, who was the pastor at Holy Cross for years and years and years, and lived to be 103 years of age. And he has the Wilson Street Bridge named after him because every day he walked across Batavia from the church over to the west side at 7:30 in the morning and 4:30 in the afternoon to get his exercise for his health, he said. But he said it also got him out into the community where he could talk to everybody and he could see whatever race, religion, color, creed, nationality, persuasion anybody was. We were all gathered here together and everybody felt welcome and at home. And if there was a sensitivity that Batavia needed to keep, it was that particular persuasion. And the other 2 people that were at the meeting, one was Sam Rotolo, who now the middle school is named after. And he kept a very strong persuasion amongst the kids, the same idea that Batavia is an open and honest place where everybody is friends. We don't have any condemning of anybody. We're trying to all work together, and that should be Batavia's goal as a community. And the final one was William J. Wood, who now has the Southeast Side School named after him. And he had been the principal at J.B. Nelson School for a number of years. And later, after he retired, he was the town historian for a number of years. And he was really into the idea that we maintain this idea that had been started long before I was the mayor, that Batavia was an open town, that we had all the churches of all denominations, and we needed to do everything we could do to bring that about. And they touched on the whole thing about the sexuality question and said, well, it's the way people are, it's what they want to do and what they wanted to believe. So that's what we will approve or stand by. So those were 3 people that, are left in Batavia's history with a bridge and 2 school buildings named after them. And they were people who truly believed and loved Batavia for what it had become as far as a community that was all welcome and all encompassing and wanted to make people feel at home always and be a nice place where if you went off on a trip or you moved someplace else, you always wanted to go back to Batavia and see how it was doing. And I'm struck by the fact that just in the last year and a half, I think I've had maybe 10 people show up at my office who are graduates of Batavia High School, some of them going back to the early 1950s. And they're quite elderly now, but they wanted to come back and see what the old town had become. And they were very complimentary about restoration of old things and how we had maintained the attitudes and how we had not become someplace that people were ashamed of, that we were an open-minded, fair city that is here to do what is best. And I would bring them down here and show them this room, and then I would say, in this room, we've got a city council that I think shares those views and is very strongly in favor of that, and that we have a lot to be very, very proud of. And so everybody leaves here saying, well, Batavia's as good as it was when I left here, and it's probably better. So I just wanted to let you know, we do get continuing gratification from everybody that comes in that's used to live here and now doesn't, about how nice it is that we've maintained kind of the Batavia that has been here, and everybody of any religion, persuasion, creed, whatever, is all welcome to be part of Batavia, and we all want to do what's the best for our town. So I'm very proud to be the mayor of this place because we've got some very strong history of leadership behind us. I've just talked about them, of people who have stepped forward and really have done their fair share during their careers. And you take the lives of Monsignor Donovan, out of the Batavia, and you're going to weaken this place a lot, and we're not going to, but I mean, he was, Sam Rotolo and Bill Wood are two others that had great impacts on a whole bunch of people. And I'm very honored that when all three of them died, I got asked to speak at their funeral. And that was something that really meant something to me, because that's what these guys were all about and what they really mean for our town. So I just wanted to kind of finish this conversation up with that nice memory of people who have made Batavia what it is. And hopefully those of us who are here today in elected leadership are here to hold on to that and keep Batavia a very special place on the face of the earth. So thank you.
Mayor, we have one more member of the public who would like to speak.
Okay.
Dan?
Didn't see him back there. Dan, you got to raise your hand higher.
From one historian to another, please don't take your history from Sylvia. And to this council, if anybody was on the fence about this matter tonight, it was a gross misrepresentation of a pivotal moment of what I would consider religious history of my people, if you will. With all due respect, yes, we have made some progress. We're not raising the unity flag anymore. But like a political pundit on right-wing news, sometimes you got to change your message if you want to get something across. The truth is, this is the Pride unity flag that they're raising. The Progress flag is a better name for it. But I'm not here to fight for that flag tonight. I'm here to fight for raising the American flag. The American flag stands for what we know what it's for. The red, white, and the blue stand for our country. And according to, Sylvia, did you get yours off of Google? I Googled what it means. Red, white, and blue. Hardiness, bravery. I think we all profess to that. The white, purity and innocence. Most of us profess to that. The blue, vigilance, perseverance, and justice. Let's see a real act of unity. And if you believe in all of those principles that are the American flag, would you please humor me and stand up? Stand up for the American flag. Thank you. This is a no-brainer. Can we all stand up if we all believe in the American flag? I question those who are not standing up, but that's okay. It's your right not to stand. If someone wants to take a knee for the flag, go ahead and do it. I'll take that as a yes. Well, the vast majority of us are standing up for the American flag. I'm really happy to see that tonight, because in many circumstances, people don't stand up for the American flag. It's hard to stand up for it right now during these times. If you're standing, you can sit now. Let's do the colors of the Pride flag. And just humor me for a second on this one, because these are what the actual flag stands for. There's not one for bisexual people. There's not one there for pansexual. And if you want me to go through all the different types of species of sex there is out there in a bedroom, I'd be happy to do that in the hallway. It's a little more gentlemanlike. But if you believe in people's ability to pursue life, that is what the red one stands for. Orange, that stripe is for healing, recognizing that we are all healers and can share our human experience with each other and heal people. Some are better at it than others. Yellow is for sunlight, believing that from sunlight can come growth. Green, nature. You may not believe in a God, but maybe you believe in something that is related to nature. You're captured in this color. Blue for serenity and harmony. I hope to God if you bought some property and you have neighbors that you're looking for peace, serenity, and harmony. So I would hope that you would at least choose to identify with that color. Purple is for spirit. in whatever faith that it is that you choose. And there are some 3,400 religions all trying to get to Nashville, where Dolly's from. We're all just taking different modes of transportation. It just so happens that the electronic scooter is the slowest, Abby, but you'll get there if you take one. Did you ride that bike tonight? Okay, that takes a little longer than a car, but you can take a car to Nashville if you want. You can take a bus. I don't care. Nashville, get there if you can. If you believe in any of these principles that I just spoke about, the principles, could you please stand up and humor me for a second? I'd like to see if anyone who stood up for the American flag stands up for any of these principles. I hope more of you stand up for it, because it's not a political flag, whereas the American flag actually is literally a political flag by its definition. I think everyone that stood before is standing again. Thank you so much for that show. That's your poll. That's your audience. Everyone that stood up for the American flag stood up for the pride flag tonight. That's the only number and the only poll that you need. I would encourage you to vote unanimously for this. I respect those that choose to vote no. I think that you haven't done the research. Your masculinity is not threatened. Your femininity is not threatened by this flag. Your children are not threatened by this flag, except for the fact that they might kill themselves because they don't think anyone sees them or loves them. I don't want that blood on my hands. And now that I'm not sitting in the council where I have to please everybody, I'm sitting in the other side of this podium as a citizen, telling you I've saved lives of people over the last 2 years, including my own. You've seen your polling, and you see who is going to decide who represents them at the next election. Remember, that threat meant nothing to me when I placed my votes. Vote with your heart. Thank you.
Have anybody else? The vote on the display of the Progress Pride flag is 11.6, so we got a little ways to move on the agenda before we'll vote on it, but it will be within the next few times of action. So
We have a motion and a second for the proclamation.
okay. We have a motion and a
We
second?
have a motion and a second. Let me call the roll.
Yeah, go ahead and call the roll.
Barron.
Aye.
Lohman.
Aye.
Fehrenbach.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Baraza.
Aye.
Lancy.
Aye.
Beck.
Aye.
Malay.
Aye.
Malone.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Solfa. Approval of the Pride Month, June 2026 proclamation. 12 yes, no, 2 absent.
Alderman Barron, did you want to give the proclamation to Belong Fox Valley? We had a presentation to the...
Do they have a presentation or?
No. We were going to present the proclamation to Belong Fox Valley, and I believe members of their organization are here tonight.
So as chairperson of the Government Services, it's part of our duty to, identify an organization that we're going to honor and present the proclamation to. And this year, it was selected of Belong Fox Valley.
I'll keep it short. My name is Scott Naylor. I am a board member with the organization Belong Fox Valley. Thank you to all of you for your votes tonight, and thank you for choosing us again this year to present the proclamation. On behalf of Belong and on behalf of the local queer community, I thank you. This is, as a lot of people have said, and I appreciate you, Councilmember Malone, with your words and understanding why we do this. And Dan, I think he already walked out, but I appreciated his words last week. I don't know if we would be here without the work he put in his years on council. And I appreciated his speech tonight explaining that that flag isn't necessarily the only flag that represents everybody, as so many like to try to push, that the colors of the rainbow flag all have an individual meaning. And as he said last week, everyone is within that flag somehow. So thank you again. I appreciate the votes. Hopefully the flag raising will pass as well, and I look forward to that event. There'll be some good speakers and a good community time, hopefully on June 1st. Thanks.
Now we go back to the regular agenda, and Main Street is on the list.
Sorry, I jumped the gun there a little bit. Apologies. So every May is the time where we have our annual meeting, which we elect our new board of directors, and with that we do a summary of the previous year. So today I'm just going to share with you a little summary of our last year. As you guys know, we had a big marketing push for last year. We were again awarded the Illinois Main Street marketing grant for new marketing initiatives, which is going to be spent on blogs on our website to create evergreen content, $2,500 of targeted e-blasts through Shaw Media, as well as money allocated to create a new TikTok account. We've had, with that regional push, we had 8 appearances on Chicagoland TV, and which was fun. We had some print media with ads with editorials in the winter and summer neighborhood tourist, as well as their holiday shopping guides. And this year we decided to do the Fox River Trail Guide, which is something distributed along the Fox River. So just trying to hit a broader audience with that. And one of the things that we were able to do after we received additional funding from you guys last year, we hired a part-timer who works strictly on content creation for our social media and our marketing. And with that, we've seen really great success with gains with our social media on all of them, as well as we launched a TikTok account in the beginning of the year. So we have 1,100 followers on that and growing. So we're really happy with the growth of that. And our constant contact, which is our email marketing, is continuing to grow. We're almost at 6,000, which is a 16% increase from the previous year. And then another highlight from the last year with Grainology closing, we moved the indoor market to Sturdy Shelter, and that just being so centrally located in town, we felt was a good fit. We had an average of 19 vendors a week, and the attendance was up to an average of 390 people in that 3-hour time period, which is a 9% increase over last year. And our restaurant guide and shopping guide continues to see great success. We're almost at 4,000 unique scans since over last year. I mean, total, which is 18% from the previous year. And our shopping guide also continues to do well. And then our economic development, the boardwalk shops remain strong. Last year, 5 of the 10 shops did end up moving to permanent locations. We had 2 with standalone brick and mortars with a rooted home and tabletop game shop. And then Jerome Guatemalan Apparel has products located in Light and Pine Collective. We had 2 go to Geneva, Scout and Gem and Stitched by Stephanie, with 1 in Lamont, Jacqueline Sue's bouquet. And then we've just finished our 2nd week of the 2026 season. We do a raffle every year with anybody who makes a purchase at the boardwalk can be entered into that raffle. We've had over 1,000 raffle entries this year in the first 2 weeks from 96 different unique zip codes. So we're really happy with how that continues to be a regional draw. Just basic economic development, we had 12 new businesses in downtown, retained 5, 8 closed, and closed or moved out of town. And we conducted 19 business retention and expansion visits, which we will continue to hold those meetings with downtown businesses for this year as well. For our organization, I kind of hit the pillars of Main Street. Sorry, I didn't explain that first, but organization, volunteers fall under that. We had 40 new volunteers last year for a total of 196 unique volunteers and over 1,000 total volunteer hours. The volunteers are really what makes Main Street possible, so we're so grateful and thankful for all of the support of the community. And then looking to this year, the upcoming year, we're continuing to work on the Recast Leader program, which will update you every month, continuing to support the downtown businesses with their marketing efforts. I mentioned the Downtown Beautification Grant that we will be awarding. We've already had a lot of interest in that, and we're going to just continue to grow our social media, as well as the final thing is we switched our holiday sneak peek, which was merchant-led last year, to be a holiday lantern walk. So that's basically a summary of last year. Does anybody have any questions for me? Okay.
How you did it all.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I'll echo that, and I continue to be impressed with what you guys do with so little, and you know, continue to bring great reports like this to council, because you know, I think we'll you know, whether it's monetarily or whatever, but we'll continue to want to invest in Main Street. You guys absolutely kill it. You know, I'm a huge fan. So thank you for all you guys do, and keep it up.
Yeah, thank you. I guess I didn't mention it too. Thank you so much to the older people we saw at the farmers market this weekend. It was so nice to see all of you out there and just how many people stopped by to talk to you. So thank you.
What time did the donuts actually make it till?
10:20.
15.
10, I would say. 10, 20. I had the secret stash under the table that.
There were several boxes of cookies that were handed out after that too. 600 donuts were handed out between what, 8 and 10 a.m.?
That's impressive.
We actually brought out a vendor. So.
Yeah, I'm sure they appreciated that. All right, well, thank you.
I'm going to put up the presentation from Water Street Studios. I just need to get that up here.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jessica Jackman. I'm the president of the board of directors of Water Street Studios, and I have many of our board members here with me today. And we just wanted to give you a little bit of an update. We usually try to come on an annual basis and tell you what we've been up to, and thank you for your support. So that's what we're going to do. So I think many of you are very familiar with Water Street. We're just, right down the street from you. And we have spent a little bit of time this year refining our mission, our vision, our values. They are consistent with what they have always been. They are just a little bit more refined. So really, we're here for the creation and appreciation of the arts by supporting artists, patrons, students, surrounding communities. And we have a number of ways that we do that through exhibitions, education, public art, and creative initiatives. We really are trying to make sure that our focus on art is through community. And so that's really what we're focused on. We really envision the arts as a unifying force. We want it to be accessible. We want to connect our communities. And Batavia has certainly been a great support of that. And we want to make sure that we have things that are accessible, that we value artistic expression, community engagement, and those are the things that we really base all of the programs that we have on. So Water Street is many things to many people. We thought we'd take you through some highlights. As you all know, we have some galleries downstairs, the Dempsey Family Gallery and the Casey Magazine Gallery. We have a new exhibition every single month. Some of them are shows with a couple of artists, some are big membership shows. We have had over 200 artists showcase. We have 2 membership shows, and we have over 100, usually like in the 80 to 90 artists at a time, and over 100 pieces of art submitted. So those are really fun, big group shows. We've had about 2,000 visitors. We open our galleries on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays from 12 to 4, and it is free to the public. So if you're ever looking for something to do and you want to come by and see us, we would love that. We're really excited that we are relaunching what we call our community gallery, which is located upstairs. We are having 6 shows in a given year. The first 4 are sort of live for our open call now. Each show has a theme. They'll last for 2 months. So our first one, we just closed the open call for, and we will celebrate the opening of this at the second Friday that we host in June. And so every second Friday of the month from 6 to 9 p.m., we do, a party to open our art exhibit. And so in June, we will not only have the regular exhibit downstairs, but we will have our first community gallery. This is a little bit more of an open call, so we expect artists of every age and range and ability to submit. And we've got a couple of themes that are really sort of personal. So the first one is identity, the next one will be home, portrait, then mental health. So all of these are live on our website, and if you know any budding artists or any artists that might be interested in having their work shown, we would love to invite them to participate. We have a School of Art, and we have both adult and youth classes. We have a number of different mediums: painting, drawing, charcoal, all sorts of good things. And through the summertime, we will have camps as well for youth. So if you have some kids and you need something for them to be doing, check us out, because we've got some camps going on. We also have resident artists. This is of particular interest because this is the basis of our agreement together for our forgivable loan, which is the occupancy of our resident artist studios. So we have 25 unique studios. Some of them have double occupancy. So we have 36 residents that are in there now. And each of those is an artist who is passionate about building and wants to do it in the community and with the fellow artists. They have an opportunity to do things like participate in our shows, and we have town halls. We have different ways for them to engage with the rest of the community and with their other fellow resident artists. Our clay lab and ceramics program is very popular. We have over 300 students that are enrolled. We have what's called a clay lab subscription or a clay lab member. We have over 40 clay lab members, to the point we have expanded into another room, and we have another 40 on the wait list. Our big exciting thing that we had, which you all helped us kick off, was we added a third kiln to our repertoire. Her name is Sweaty Betty. She works hard for the money. And then we also go into the community. So we not only have classes that we do, but we go out at the homestead. We have a program with CAPE. We have a program with Mercy Housing. So we believe art is important, and it's really developmental at all ages and stages. And so we partner with organizations to bring our art to folks who can't come to us. We have also hosted some programs in-house. The Batavia United Way very generously gave us a grant, and with that we host what we call a community day. Right now it's on a quarterly basis, although we hope to take it more to a monthly basis. And we open it up, we do a project. The picture here is of our Mardi Gras theme. The last one we had was sort of a spring flower day, and so people can come in, totally free to the public, and do some art with us for a couple of hours. We are also a regular at the Batavia Farmers Markets. We participate in Swedish Days, the Geneva Arts Fair. Anywhere there is a local either nonprofit opportunity or celebration of arts, we try to be there, usually with a craft or something to provide activities, often for the kids. And then we've done some workshops and available things at our studios, like World Collage Day, which happened at the end of last year. And we've done some good work, especially with you all, in our public art space. We just closed 2 of these public art open calls, one for the North River Street Plaza benches and another through the America at 250, celebrating the 250th anniversary of the signing of Declaration of Independence. We also just closed our first open call for the community gallery. So as we develop and get stronger, our goal is to not only be showcasing artists who are of professional caliber and really established, but also to be opening this up to community and getting exposure for new artists to come join us. Something that we were really proud of this last year was the mural that is around the corner on the back end of where the Comedy Vault is, called the mural of the City of Good Energy, which is our play here on Batavia's history. And what we loved so much, not only about how fantastic we think it looks and how vibrant it is, But we had so many community volunteers that helped us. It was sort of a paint by number program, so people could come in. We had the whole thing that was outlined, and then everybody could come volunteer their time and contribute. And we had such good feedback from everybody that they loved being a part of something that really was going to stay, that they could drive by, that they could showcase to people and really be proud of. So it was a big success, and we did a lot of celebrating of this mural. So we wanted to come here and thank you for your ongoing support. As you might remember, we had a loan issued 2 years ago, and the criteria for success is that 75% or more of our resident artist studios will be occupied, and we have met that for each of the last 2 years. I think that was on your consent agenda, so we just turned in our affidavit for success here, and so we are very successfully keeping our community very busy and our occupancy very high. So again, we just want to thank you all for your support. It's very meaningful, and it's helped Water Street Studios really solidify our ability to be here for the long term. I'd be happy to take any questions.
Anybody on the council have any questions? Well, I would just like to say that, I've been here a long time, and I look out in this audience and I see some faces out there that were very much producers, helped produce this whole thing and put it together. And this didn't happen overnight. There was a lot of politics in the room, I guess I would say, and we had some good people that kind of worked their way through all that. And, there was decisions made about how it was going to run and who was going to run it and all this. And it's all come out to be a wondrous thing, to the degree that now I get other city officials from other towns in here asking questions about how did you do this and who can we go talk to? And we've got some artists in our town we'd like to bring into our community and get them started. So you've started something that I think is spreading specifically throughout the suburban area of Chicago. And you're a well-admired and applauded presence in Batavia that we are very proud of. So thank you for all that you do and everybody with you does. And to those in the audience, and I'm not going to try to pull them out because I'm probably going to miss somebody, but you got some of the big starting movers here right behind you.
We sure do, yeah.
Yeah, we certainly do. So thank you for all you've done.
Thank you.
So I think we've kind of derailed the agenda here a little bit tonight. We're bouncing all over the place. I think we're at 11.2, are we not? Right?
Yes.
And I don't know, I'm looking in the audience, and is Randy Zeese here?
No.
No. Okay, well, we got a nice plaque for Randy that we had made up. And I was going to give it to him, so I'll have to get him down here next meeting or sometime and bring him in. But he has announced, he was a Batavia paid fireman for a number of years and did a great job. And then he retired from that, and we appointed him to the Fire and Police Commission. And he stayed on that for 10 years. And now I guess his wife, who was also kind of a fan of this, they both decided it was time to retire and go on to other good things in their life. So they have retired. And so that takes me to item 11.3. And I'm pleased to ask your confirmation of the appointment of Stephen Lusted to the Board of Batavia Fire and Police Commissioners for a free 3-year term to replace Randy Zeese. Now, before we vote on that, I don't think anybody's got any problems with this, but I just want to share how we kind of redid the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners a few years ago. That's a very specialized group because it's hiring all the policemen and firemen full-time that come into the city. And one of the things that we need there are people who understand what the Batavia Police and Fire Department is all about. So we made a little deal that we would do some stuff that would kind of hopefully strengthen it. One is that we would appoint a full-time retired policeman, a full-time retired fireman, and for the chairman of it, we would appoint, if we could find them, and we did, a former member of the city council. And so that's who we have now on the Fire and Police Commission. And now with Randy retiring, we have an opening, and so that's why I would like to ask your approval of appointing Stephen Lusted to the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners for a 3-year term. Steve worked for the city utility, but his real heart and soul, I think, was in the Batavia Fire Department, and he was on the paid and call department for 40 years?
36.
37?
36.
36, okay. So we still are maintaining this presence. My biggest challenge is going to be if Nancy Vance ever wants to leave, and we got to find a former alderman to step up and do this. But Nancy seems to be doing a great job with it, and so, and we have retired Chief Anderson, who's sitting in the audience. He's the police representative on it. So we've kept this thing going that we have all retired people who know what the job's all about and probably have a good sense of who's going to be good and whatever. So I'm very pleased to have this, but somebody care to make a motion for the approval of Stephen Lusted to be a commissioner for a 3-year term?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Wolf.
Aye.
Solfa.
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Lohman. Fahrenbach.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Baraza. Lancy. Beck. Malay.
Aye.
Malone.
Aye.
12 yes, no, 2 absent.
Motion's approved. Steve, you want to stand up and say anything, or just?
Thank you very much, and Mayor, thank you for appointing me and allowing me to.
Thank you. Thank you for willing to serve. All right, then, moving to item, I guess it would be item 11.4, appointment of student member Casey Hubert to the Batavia Environmental Commission. Is she here? Somebody care to make that form of a motion?
So moved.
Second. Motion and second. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Beck.
Aye.
Malay.
Aye.
Malone.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Solfa.
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Lohman.
Aye.
Fahrenbach.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Baraza. Lancy.
Aye.
12 yes, no, 2 absent.
Motion's approved. Moving to 11.5 is the appointment of student member Abraham Valadez to the Batavia Environmental Commission. Is he here? I'd ask for a motion and second to approve him.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Clerk, call the roll.
Beck.
Aye.
Malay.
Aye.
Malone.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Solfa.
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Lohman.
Aye.
Fahrenbach.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Baraza.
Aye.
Lancy.
Aye.
12 yes, no, 2 absent.
Motion's approved. All right, now we go to 11.6. Have we already voted that?
We have not. We
We have-
voted on the proclamation, but 11.6 will be the display of the
Right.
progress slide.
Appointment, okay, you got me straight thinking now. There was so much flying around here about this conversation a while back that this is item, the display of the Progress Pride flag on the city flagpole for the month of June. Somebody care to make that in the motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Malone. Sorry, Malay.
Aye.
Thank you. Malone.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Solfa.
Aye.
Barron.
Aye.
Lehman. Absent. Lohman.
Aye.
Fahrenbach.
Aye.
Anderson.
No.
White.
Aye.
Baraza.
Aye.
Lancy.
No.
Beck.
Aye.
10 yes, 2 no, 2 absent.
Motion's approved. All right. Moving to 11.7 is the approval of the annual department reappointment of the department heads. We've discussed this in executive session at the last council meeting. Somebody care to make a motion for the appointments?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Clerk, call the roll on that one.
Barron.
Aye.
Lohman.
Aye.
Fahrenbach.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Baraza.
Aye.
Lancy.
Aye.
Beck.
Aye.
Malay.
Aye.
Malone.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Solfa.
Aye.
12 yes, no, 2 absent.
Motion's approved. All right, moving to 11.8, which is the approval of a contract for a crossing guard at Union and South Batavia Avenue during quarry beach hours of operation.
So moved. Sorry. Trying to get it going. Second.
Not even 8:20 yet. I'll second. I'll let Laura talk later.
All right, Laura, you want to take this on?
Here. Oh, now the microphone's on. Okay. In 2025, the city spent $9,744.93 for crossing guard services at Union Avenue and 31 in order to assist folks who were on their way to and coming home from the quarry beach. And talked to the company this year, it's Andy Frayne, who we use for these services, and they had a modest increase to their hourly amounts. The regular hourly rate is $29.28, and the holiday is $43.92. We got started a little bit late last year, so I would anticipate that this would come in probably closer to $12,000 to $13,000 for this year, and that is under the amount that I'm authorized to make contracts for, but I just wanted to bring it back to you to make sure that everyone was supportive of us continuing to provide this service to the community. Alderperson Silva.
Last year, I was not a big fan of this, and I wanted to know what the stats were, because I never saw anybody ever crossing there. Granted, I didn't sit there all the time. Do we have stats?
Yes, they said that on average, there were 50 people who they crossed total for each day, but that the number was much lower on days that were extremely high heat, which I would think that would be more people would want a nice, cool dunk in the quarry, but didn't work out that way. So on average, about 50 people per day. Yes.
My question would be is, why is the Park District not doing this? Why aren't we not sharing this with the Park District?
When I asked them, they said that on the advice of their legal counsel, said that they should not provide services like this.
So it's okay for the city to provide that service and take the liability risk, but not the Park District? Not happy about that. I think that this should be either a shared or a Park District responsibility.
I agree.
I mean, I want to protect the public, but this should be something that's shared.
I think if they take the liability to have thousands of people swim outdoor in a quarry, they can go ahead and handle the liability to cross 50 people a day, would be my take.
Yeah, shoulds are great. Yes, in a perfect world, we would force them to cover their own liabilities, but they won't. And I disagree with their assessment. I'm sure it's well reasoned, but it doesn't seem like the right choice. So while we can live in the worlds of who should or shouldn't do this, I do think that at, about 12,000 for 50 people a day for, 2 months, 3 months, whatever it is, that's actually a higher usage than I had anticipated. I was expecting way lower than that. And so this now feels like a much better deal than maybe it had last year when I voted yes. Of course, I do think we should continue to look at more permanent solutions, even if they're as simple as the little flags or the flashing lights, so on and so on. But, for now, given where we've been and the relative low cost for 50 folks a day using that service, it feels like a good use of our funds.
Alderman Beck?
I would agree with that, and knowing that Trans Systems is working on that proposal to IDOT for the improvements at that intersection and up and down 31 to make the necessary safety improvements that'll get our kiddos across that street much easier in the future, that this isn't a permanent solution. This isn't the only thing that we're doing. This is still the Band-Aid that we'll invest in until better engineering is done. So it seems like a very small cost to pay in the meantime.
Nancy?
Yeah, just doing back of the napkin math. I mean, what are we looking at? $2.50 or $3 a person that we're crossing? And I'm pretty sure if something happened there and we've run that math back in our head, we're not going to want to do it. Now, I tend to agree with you guys. I think that's for another day. But I couldn't agree more that there needs to be some sort of long-term discussion there. But what are we going to do in the meantime? You know, we got to make sure our kids are safe. And if we truly have 50 on average, that's, you know, that's, I would agree, that's more than I expected as well. So pretty important we have someone there, and just so nice peace of mind for parents to know that that's one more crossing that's covered. You know, so I fully support it after doing the math, and we're a wealthy community. That's something we should do.
I agree with those comments also. I just wanted to add that I've heard positive feedback from the community about having the crossing guard there last summer. So I just wanted to add that wasn't spoken to, and they're looking forward to it again this summer. So thank you for putting that on the agenda.
I was going to ask, did we have better feedback on the crossing guard this year? I feel like last year when we talked about this, there was some negative feedback on them not showing up or sleeping in the car. Have we had any issues with that?
Anytime that we have reported that back to Andy Frame, there has been a noticeable positive reaction to it. So certainly can't promise that an unsupervised employee of a contractor is going to always do what they should do, but I think that Andy Frame has been good at responding to that.
Alderman White?
I wasn't on this council last year when you guys had this discussion, and honestly, I was on the Active Transportation Commission at that time, and I couldn't believe this was even a discussion. My family had crossed there multiple times, and I appreciated that crossing guard. I will probably concede that I was probably 5 or 10 of those. That was on my running route last summer, so knock it down a couple. But yeah, no, this is definitely something I'm in favor of. I still count. Thank you. Thank you. I feel seen.
Cross safely.
You were worth that $2.
Yeah.
They'll continue to provide us with those numbers, correct? For the
we had them do a
crossings.
2-week period of time. That's when they took the numbers. I'm not sure if they'll do counts throughout the summer, but I can ask.
Yeah, I think that would give us a better idea. You know, I think that's something that some of us have asked for, more accurate numbers for that. I think some of us on council have requested that.
Well, I did get the ones from last year that was an average for a 2-week period of time.
Right.
So we can, if you want to do it all summer this year, we can do that.
Why is it for them to just click something when they cross?
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have anything else to really do.
Except make sure that people are crossing safely. You click when they get to the other side, maybe.
I apologize. Just one last comment. You know, I used to live near this cross, and for those who are watching who aren't aware of why this is an issue, the way Route 31 undulates up and down, you pretty much can't see that crossing area until you're almost on top of it, right? So the near accidents are a thing there, which is why the crossing guard is actually positioned at this area. There is talk of a long-term permanent solution as opposed to having somebody there every season. That's the best we can do right now.
Anybody else? I just want to offer a very brief story about it, my experience. As many of you may remember, I think it was last year at the Memorial Day parade, the city of Highland Park had a parade going on in their downtown, and they had some kid with a gun get up on the top of a building and start shooting people. And several got killed. It was a nationwide story. And there was a kind of a newly elected mayor in town at the time. And one day out of the blue, she calls me and says, could I come down to Batavia? I hear you have features there that I'd like to maybe think about bringing into Highland Park and kind of get some conversations going about different stuff. So I said, absolutely. So she came down. And one of the first things she said to me, I want to go see this quarry that you have. So we went down there and I explained to her that it had been a mine stone quarry and we had hauled all that out, and much of the stone was used to rebuild Chicago after the Great Chicago Fire, so that gave you an idea. But they had just gotten through renovating the quarry and the new status, got rid of the diving tower and everything else. And so it was really a very modernistic looking swimming pool. But she was very impressed with that. But then when we got up to the top of the hill, here was this line of people standing at Union Avenue and Batavia Avenue waiting across the street. And she says, look at the crowd. I said, yeah, we get it. And she says, and look at this, you've got a dedicated uniformed person here to help them across the street. You've really got this thing together. And she says, I'm looking for good ideas to have in my town. I may use that. Now, I don't know if she has or not, but she was very impressed with having the crossing guard going into the quarry. And that was just one person who had just gone through some very bad governmental experiences in her own town. And she was very impressed with that whole situation. So I only share that to let you know there's people totally from the outside that see it for the first time and are very impressed with it. So anybody else want to say anything before we vote?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Regan Bull. I'm with the Batavia Active Transportation Advisory Commission, but Bob was a part of once. We miss you, Bob, by the way. But yeah, thanks for letting me know that this was up on the agenda this evening. Again, just like Bob said, I was kind of flabbergasted to stand here last year in support of this, that it is even something that needs to be discussed. I think we made the right decision last year, so I'm hoping that that decision's made again this year. A couple little fun facts about having a crossing guard at intersection like this. Just a simple Google search will help you understand, but having a person with a stop sign walk out onto that street, you have to stop. As opposed to the yellow blinking light, that's just literally a suggestion. That's a yield sign. And a lot of our pedestrians don't know that, especially young children. They'll hit that button and just walk right out in their traffic. And it's up to the driver to choose whether or not they have to stop. If we have a crossing guard with a stop sign, they legally have to stop for that. So that's a big part of this, and I hope that you guys recognize that. On the note of the pedestrians using that intersection, I believe last year we actually discussed using some of our pedestrian cameras. We have pedestrian camera counters, and we can move those to that location. I think we even discussed that a little bit last year at this time too, because I'm interested in the statistics as well, so is the commission. But regardless of that, I think it's something that we need. It's very well used. I cross there as well. So looking forward to your guys' approval vote. Thank you.
Can I just ask a question? You talked about that technology that you have. Do you have other initiatives that you're using that for at this time, or is that the place that maybe to consider it for the summer?
I think it's something that we should consider for the summer. It's up to Public Works where that technology goes. I know that it's been discussed to use it in lieu of the potential bridge crossing for Randall Road. So where those are located right now, I don't know, but it's up to where Public Works wants to put it. But I think it'd be a great directive to put it there, at least for this summer, just to get an accurate count of really what we're doing there.
I was just going to say, just so everyone knows, there's ways to do people counting that aren't very expensive that can be done with the city surveillance system we got by getting another camera. There's the system that Andrea will say, but like, we can get that done.
Well, right, they have the technology. That's what he's talking about.
But even if that one's deployed, like whether we get another one of these ones or like I know we can get a camera and then there's an analytic on it, you can do people counting, no problem.
I would like to add, we have the permanent one that's at just over here by the Depot Museum that's permanently mounted in a concrete pad. I've logged into our viewer to see, and there's definitely been some spikes in people that are using it. And then our second one is more of a portable one, so it is mounted just for a time being. We had it last year, was over by the Speedway on Kirk Road, just trying to monitor some crossings over there with some issues that were ongoing. That location is not disclosed because that, like I said, it's portable. And the only issue that we have is with this particular counter we have, if it's located where it's adjacent to a roadway and we're trying to collect that, it's also picking up vehicles. So when we put it over on Wilson Street, we had to have it aimed where the back was hitting a solid piece of like a wood or a board, so it wasn't collecting data. So like Main Street, I know that was one of the Active Transportation Committee's locations to deploy this device, but after going through it, we realized that that did not work. So I know our staff is going to be working with Active Transportation to kind of come up with some locations that we can move this. Maybe one of them would be the bike path that's out on Deer Path and or Branson, where it's now extending, seeing how many people are coming that way, just trying to get different numbers. So we'll work with them to deploy that and move it. And once we have that data collected, we'll be happy to share that with you. Or we can do it offline as well.
Just curious, what's the cost on one of those systems?
I don't know the number off the top of my head. That was prior to me. Gary and Max worked on that.
Like sub $1,000?
I think we got two of them for maybe $10,000 to $12,000. So yeah, something
All right,
like
so
that.
I'm talking about like a sub $700 camera that chief can, and the city can use day two too. And you can turn off vehicles and you can turn on people and tell it to people count in a certain area. That can be done.
And we have hired our consultants. Like Strand did that for the counts on Randall Road. They had a camera out there and then they were able to use type of AI software that was able to go through some of the counts.
Anybody else? I think we've debated that one to
Thank you.
moment of, I guess, making a decision. Have we motioned in a second?
We have a motion from Wilman on the
Second.
table and a second from White.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on this idea. Clerk, call the roll.
Wilman.
Aye.
Fehrenbach.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye.
White.
Aye.
Baraza.
Aye.
Lancy.
Aye.
Beck.
Aye.
Malay.
Aye.
Malone.
Aye.
Wolf.
Aye.
Solfa.
Aye, but I don't want to pay for it next week.
Barron. Aye.
Count.
12 yes, no, 2 absent.
Motion's approved. All right, moving to 11.9 is a presentation on the Public Works Annual Report. And our new Executive Director of Public Works is here tonight to do that for us.
All right. Laura, does this still share?
It doesn't, you don't need to share because no one's online.
Okay.
So you're good.
There we go. I mean, people aren't going to tune back in and watch it later. Anyhow, this is the first time that Public Works has ever put anything like this together. And I live in a neighboring community and saw it, and I've seen it through some of my colleagues in APWA, the American Public Works Association. And my intention was to bring this sooner, but it just all worked out the way it was meant to be because today is the first day of Public Works Week. So what better way to come and talk about us? And this morning we kicked it off at Public Works, celebrating just all the things that our team does day in and day out. Had a little celebration for them and giving them the kudos that they don't always hear with the hustle and bustle of everything, those overnight calls. And, we're just always on the go. I know over the weekend there were some call outs and stuff. So anyhow, this is just, I will call it a bare bones, a work in progress, just kind of giving you a little synopsis of what the city and Public Works has done over this last year. When I started writing this, they were talking about the zodiac and how we were in the year of the snake and equated that to all the skin peeling and new layers coming up. And with that, we had all the retirements and all the changes of people filling the roles that were now vacated by those that either left or retired, adding some new roles. And our team adapted and took that on. This is very small print, so I know you guys have that and can read through that. But again, I stand up here and I am proud to represent all the staff that work with me. Without them doing their daily tasks, I wouldn't be able to stand up here and share all this stuff with you. So kudos to all of them. When we're a full staff, we're about 70, 72. We have some vacancies right now, but as you guys know, there's 6 different divisions. And This is our organizational chart with the 2 assistant directors that got put into place in 2025, where we also added a management analyst who is taking one of her big projects and initiatives is our asset management, and she is getting that set up and super excited about getting that to be deployed out to our field crew to use for mobile later this year. We also, with Jeremy stepping up into one of the assistant directors, we introduced a water and sewer operations manager that now oversees that. So it kind of adds another layer in there to help oversee that. And then that was all last year. I want to kind of stick with 2025, but I just had every division kind of pull out some high points of what they worked on. And as you know, we're here later going to be discussing the IRP. So talking about the reliability, resiliency, and modernization of the electric utility, kind of taking care of some of those things to reach those milestones and goals, whether it's undergrounding or replacing old lines. We worked on Norcross and the Cherry Park substation, to Redant Road, where we worked with BNSF again to get it underneath that railroad. And then when we have the developers come in town, the electric department works hand in hand with those developers. So this last year was a huge push with Pulte coming in and providing the power from that McKee substation all the way to the Ashton Ridge development and working on that. In addition, there were the 3 EV chargers at the high school, and we worked on the Batavia library as well that finished up earlier this year. Wildlife protection, some of the outages that we get are from wildlife. Today was not the case, but I was hoping it was. And Steve and the meter department has worked really hard on getting the Tantalus smart meters put into place and getting those so that we can do more of the drive-by as opposed to in-home meter readings. Engineering worked on a lot of implementation and coordination of all the different projects. They were recognized for the safety at the Prairie and Wilson intersection improvement through APWA. They do a lot of inspections on all the public infrastructure that's put in, whether it is within city projects or public improvements through development. We also are working on the Safe Routes to School project, where that was the infamous Republic sidewalk, as well as the other 2 streets that I'm drawing a blank. One of them was Blaine. I'm just doing those connections there. And then we also replaced the sidewalk on the river path on the west side and worked on the Peace Bridge ramp. And there you can see we had over 1,200 inspections. And then the Environmental Commission and the Active Transportation Commission have a member of the engineering staff, and/or we've had Caroline, our management analyst, sit on those commissions. So they also attend those meetings and kind of coordinate efforts with those commissions to get that information to other people within the city. 7 miles of roadway and 800 squares of sidewalk replaced. Public properties and services. I guess I should give people names too. So Steve Allen was overseeing the electric last year, with Tim Grimm at engineering, and public properties is Scott Haynes. Scott was organizing and coordinating the office remodel projects. Both we had some here at City Hall as well as Public Works. Government Center roof replacement project that one of these days we'll be able to take off the ongoing project list. We're wrapping it up hopefully very soon. He was still overseeing forestry at this time as the city arborist, so he was helping with the transition. You could see how many trees were removed, how many trees we trimmed, and then with the 3 planting programs, we planted over 300 trees throughout the city. Again, he's overseeing all the facilities now, and unfortunately, the city never really had a great plan in place. All the buildings were new, and it just nothing ever broke, right? So we didn't have to worry about that. So Scott kind of stepped into that role and has helped us work on any type of remediation, which the fire station has some, coordinating efforts when we're looking at the different facilities, updates and stuff like that, because he's learning all the systems and being able to share that with everybody. Our streets division is run by Dave Hartnett. We have 120 miles of roadway that they maintain during the winter with salting operations and plowing. And this year we didn't have much luck with the temperature and with the forecast and stuff with the pre-treatment, but hopefully we'll get to be able to use that again. They also oversee our cemetery. We have 2 of those, the east and the west side. We had 43 graves purchased with 59 burials, and they attend those burials as well. And then earlier this year, I brought the agreement for the Park District quarry lot with the leaf storage, and you could see over 8,000 cubic yards of leaves that were collected this year and brought out. They also obviously work on the downtown area, so hopefully you guys were able to notice the flowers that were planted this past week and all the planters and the hanging baskets and all the banners they put up, and lots of other behind the scenes things like clearing the storm drains and stuff like that that you guys don't see but are very happy that that work has occurred, especially when we had heavy rains like this morning. Wastewater is overseen by Zach Bones, and obviously Jerry has been here quite a few times going over things, and for those of you that were able to see the tour, you know that we were working hard to get this treatment plant updated over 2025, and this year kind of led to Zach being able to start focusing on other parts of the treatment and collection systems, which he works on the lift stations. Lift stations and the actual treatment plant falls under wastewater. Any of the collection lines falls under water and sewer, which is Jeremy/Mike. So you could see we had 875 million gallons of wastewater treated, and 40,000 pounds of phosphorus removed. And those are some of the semis that you saw that they have to haul some of that stuff out and take it off-site. The water and sewer division, where you could see them in the hole working on water main breaks and installations. So they had some major projects. We replaced Bernadette Lane in North Van Nortwick, which was over 4,400 linear feet of new 12-inch water main, which helps the fire suppression system and make sure that the flows are adequate. All of that different stuff, sampling, not to mention that they tried for the best tasting water in King County, and they came up as a runner-up this year, and we received perfect fluoridation compliance from the Illinois Department of Public Health. Last year we had 402 lead water service lines replaced, over 3,000 work orders, and over 6,000 utility locates, which a lot of those would also be all the other divisions as well. So just said it was going to be kind of brief, basic, just giving you a taste of what we do. And over the next few years, we hope we can improve. If there's anything you guys would like to see, like I said, we're working on our VWorks asset management that helps us tally different things. So if there's more data you guys would like to see, feel free to email myself and we can kind of get that into the works and put this into a report for next year. But you guys know a lot of these projects as we've presented them to you to get the budget approved. So with that, I'm going to end it. I know we've had lots of presentations tonight, but I appreciate your time. And does anybody have any questions?
What are we running her up to in best water?
Oh, I knew at the time. I don't know if it was St. Charles.
Oh.
I'd have to verify. I don't want to put on record.
Tri-City, we're throwing some investment into what? No, I'm just kidding.
But didn't we win state once? We go all the way to state with best tasting water.
My wife's a water connoisseur.
Yeah, that's Alan's water bottle. That's whenever that was from.
Yeah, I don't know, it's fading out.
I know mine has
I
done that as
wanted to
well.
bring up too, the first one that's up there, that will be one of the first cities that's going to be lead-free in the state. And there's other cities very close to us that are asking for deferrals, whatever they can do to try to postpone it, because they don't know how they're going to do it, or they don't know how they're going to fund it. So I think we're in a really good spot, and even if we did lose to St. Charles and Taste, they're looking for 500,000 gallons of water. That was in an article today, that they're looking at 500,000 gallon a day shortage right now, that they don't know when they're going to have wells to pump it. So, that's something I think we have to really think about into the future, is the water that we produce and how much more growth we can really handle on the water production side, or how we're going to have to change the way we allow people to use water.
Alderman Wolf, we actually have in the budget for this year the next iteration of our water master plan.
Thank you.
Alderman Malone?
Yeah, I was going to ask, I read that headline, I didn't read the full article, but I read the headline too. I was going to ask about that as well, especially given sort of where water is on top of mind for a lot of different reasons. But I'll defer that for a second. Second, I'll say that pretty generally, thank you. This was a great read through. It gave me a good idea, and I'm always shocked at the breadth of work that our folks are doing. By a fluke of fate, I share a name very closely with Kevin Maloney. Chief, the email got to them about the men's locker room. Don't worry, it came to me this morning. I made sure it got over to Kevin. But
I've had to correct myself a couple of times.
yes,
I'm like, I need to make sure it says
email that I got, but just
PPS.
the work that this one man alone is doing that I happened to get a glimpse into shows that really everybody's working very hard there. And then out in the community, I know the Van Nortwick, that was down the street from me. It was a big hole in the ground for a little while, but I appreciate the hard work you guys did on that. And then the Republic sidewalk on the other side of the block from me, I walk that nearly every other day. And it's really been a pleasant addition. So thank you for all that hard work.
Alderman White?
Just real quick, on top of it, thank you for putting this together. I guess my question to you is, how far and wide are you going to share this? I think you should actually work with a new communications intern and maybe do a little chest thumping out on social media and really trumpet what has been able to be done.
So I will say that I tried to encourage my staff to submit pictures of themselves doing their jobs because they didn't know, but I was planning this celebration this morning to do something a little bit different, and treated them to breakfast to thank them for everything that they do. Some people obliged and took the challenge. Others did not. I pulled some pictures that I had gotten, but after I showed them that I was going to be presenting, I told them I was presenting this to you guys tonight, and I had the copy, left it on the table, and just read a little bit of what, like I read this page so they all know what they're doing, but they're not always immersed in what other people within our own division are doing, to kind of give them a taste of that. But, I gave an award to somebody that provided the most unique picture. He was fishing for something that went into the clarifier and was properly harnessed. I know they were all afraid I was going to look at safety, and that was not the intent of it. It was just to kind of put you out there and what occurs in your daily life and what we do and how we can support each other. So with that, I already got a picture of something that somebody was doing today, and I told them, keep on sending them to me. I gave them my cell phone number just so we can have them, include them in the report. And then I know when Lori works on putting out information to the public, this is happening, that's happening, snowplow, where there's a water main break, that we could have these pictures and use that as visuals to help people understand a little bit. They're not right there, but it'll give them better visual.
Yeah. I think as of right now, we have the fire department puts out an annual report, the police put out an annual report, public works puts out an annual report now. I think the only one who actually doesn't is like the city admin at this point. Is that correct? Yeah.
I think we're the biggest departments, obviously the overall, but.
No, I'm wondering if maybe there's an opportunity to actually have us, maybe not necessarily city council, but the rest of the city to put out an annual report as well. I know when I read the police and fire annual report, I definitely learn something every time, good, bad, or indifferent. These annual reports are valuable. I want to say police and fire have been putting them out for about 10 years now, and you definitely learn a lot.
I just recycled some back from about 10 years ago, so.
Alderman Lancy?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, and thank you, Andrea, for all you're doing and for what you did for the team. I think that, I don't want to throw any shade on your predecessor, any of them, but I think that's probably a culture shift, and it's probably nice, even if folks don't say it. I think some of those things are very much appreciated, and I know we all appreciate that you did that for the team, so.
I mean, I got little, like what an elementary school teacher would post around her room, because the construction's pretty easy. So they were maybe a little corny, but, maybe it put a smile on somebody's face as they were reading the construction signs and stuff, just to spice it up. And I'm a girl, so it might be different for a guy to come into that. And, but it is what it is.
I think it's good too for the public to see what was accomplished with their tax money for the last year. How many feet of sidewalk did we get? How many miles of road did we work on? How much water main did we put in? How many, miles of electric did we work on? I think all those things, we hear it all the time about how many times the ambulance goes out every year. How many times, we pull somebody over for speeding, or how many times we have domestic disturbances, whatever the stats are. But what really gets built in town that nobody talks about is the guy that shows up at 2 o'clock in the morning and fixes the water main that's broken in your house so that you can take a shower the next day. So I think that's something that, they definitely appreciate hearing that. But I think the public would kind of be surprised if they really saw those numbers every year, what those groups accomplish.
And we have put stuff in the Batavian at the end of the year summarizing some of our capital projects, but it's not very in-depth. We don't get a lot of space in there, but we have tried to push that to summarize some of those bigger projects and goals that we have tried to reach.
I like the idea of getting out on the socials, though. I mean, we can share it, other people can share it, but I mean, private entities would be sharing stuff like that all over the place. Those are great things to brag about, so.
Fishing out of the poop pool is going to kill it on TikTok, guys. Kill it.
Well, I think it was still kind of
Humor goes a
empty,
long
and
way.
yeah, I mean, they had a glove that somehow got in there, must have fallen off and clogged the drain. So he is a great sport, Alex Brandt, and Zach has shared some other pictures. Like, he's the first one to get in there and shovel the solid stuff that is stuff in the trough. So, things you don't think of, but they enjoy doing it. So have to celebrate that, because I don't know how many of you guys would want to go do that.
I
Anyways.
would just like to offer up, I have been very impressed with Andrea since she took over as Public Works Director. She's really brought some direction to the whole operation. Instead of 4 or 5 different departments kind of running loose, she's really brought them all together. And I now had, in the last 6-8 weeks, I've had 2 different folks either talk to me someplace or call and say they just wanted to appreciate the response they got from our new Public Works Director about some issue that they were dealing with. So she's really reaching out to the public and doing the job as it should be done. And so I just wanted to publicly thank her here tonight for starting out and really starting a new way of public works being regarded in the community of Batavia. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you. And I have to say, I know some of those requests, they come to me because they see that I'm the one on top, but a lot of those I can't do it without those that sit with me and work with me side by side every day. And so, it all goes to everybody that we're all in there doing our hardest every day, day in, day out. And this year, the theme for the Public Works Week, they do a poster every year, which we have in Public Works, and it's displayed, Rooted in Service, Powered by Community. So, they come up with the different themes and stuff like that. That will be the topic for the conference later this year, and it talks about all those visible things that you guys had mentioned. You could see the overhead lines or the roadways and stuff like that, but all the stuff that's underground that nobody thinks of until something's gone wrong, or there's water shooting out of the ground, So those are the heroes of the city. And this year we also did, which I realized I did not include in the report, or maybe we did it after the fall, but you will see all of the public works vehicles with first responder stickers, as well as the Julie Dig information. They want you to fill out Julie locates any residents, obviously the developers and stuff, but before you dig and you fill out your own ticket to give that information. And an initiative done by the Public Works is to recognize Public Works as first responders, and just putting that sticker out. A bunch of other communities are starting to do that as well. They say the first ones to be at the scene are the last ones to leave, to make sure everything's put together, and people just don't realize that. And nothing against my counterparts that have always worn the name of first responder, but it's nice to get that recognition out there for the others that are out there helping in the same regards. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you. All right, moving in right along on the agenda, we're almost there at the end. 11.10, ordinance 2026-018, authorizing execution of an annexation agreement for 02 South 020 Deer Path Road.
I'll take honor. This annexation agreement is an agreement between us and the owners of 02 South 020 Deer Path Road. It's approximately 8 acres of residential property. The agreement outlines the terms that it'll be annexed into the city at an R0 single-family district, and that will allow any existing non-conforming structures to remain and require that the owners only connect to the city sewer, water, and electric in the future if their systems fail or if the property is further developed or subdivided. Is there any questions on this one? If not, I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 2026-18, authorizing execution of an annexation agreement for 02 South 020 Deer Path Road.
Second.
A motion and second for the approval of ordinance 2026-018 for the annexation of 2 South 020 Deer Path Road. Any further discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Beck?
Aye.
Malay?
Aye.
Malone?
Aye.
Wolf?
Aye.
Solfa?
Aye.
Barron?
Aye.
Fehrenbach?
Aye.
Anderson?
Aye.
White?
Aye.
Baraza?
Aye.
Lancy?
Aye.
11 yes, no, 3 absent.
Okay. Then under the regular business of the agenda, the last one is 11.11, which is Resolution 2026-057R, approving the charter for the Integrated Resource Plan Task Force. Who's got this one?
Keep going with that, Your Honor. This is the final draft, integrating all the comments from our last discussion and establishing a task force to help us with our first IRP. Did anybody have any questions or comments on this last one? Yeah.
I sent you an email asking if this had been reviewed by the attorney, because I know that that was something that was mentioned very early on in the process, to make sure that everything was done.
Yes, it was reviewed by Roman. He said he did not have any legal concerns. He had a couple clarifying pieces about the 2 weeks that the applications would be open. And I read it, and I'm sorry I wasn't here last week to bring it up. Seemed like good language to include on the website and other communications that we put out about soliciting applicants, but that was, and that the Park District was excluded from the major users, that they're also one of our top 50 users. So that was all.
Thank you.
Anything else? Want to make a motion then?
Yes, I move we approve Resolution 2026-57-R, approving the charter for an integrated resource plan task force.
Second.
Motion and a second for the approval of ordinance resolution 2026-057-R. Any further discussion? Clerk, call the roll.
Beck?
Aye.
Malay?
Aye.
Malone?
Aye.
Wolf?
Aye.
Solfa?
Aye.
Barron?
Aye.
Fehrenbach?
Aye.
Anderson?
Aye.
White?
Aye.
Baraza?
Aye.
Lancy?
Aye.
So that would be 11 yes, no, 3 absent.
Motion approved. Moving then to city council updates. Laura, do you have an administrator's report?
I wanted to follow up the approval of the task force with a message that will go out to the community about this. The city is seeking residents interested in serving on a newly formed Integrated Resource Plan, IRP task force. An IRP is a comprehensive long-term roadmap that will be used by the Batavia Municipal Electric Utility to determine how best to meet future energy demand, balancing reliability, cost, environmental regulations, and policy goals. This task force will play an important role in reviewing and strengthening the city's draft IRP. Members will analyze the draft IRP and summarize key facts, assumptions, and conclusions, identify gaps in information or data, present findings in a clear, accessible way for the public, and evaluate how well the IRP aligns with the city's energy policy, including affordability, sustainability, resilience, and adaptability. The task force will meet at least twice per month. We are looking for thoughtful, engaged individuals with an interest in energy, public policy, or community planning. Technical expertise is valued but not required, just a willingness to learn and contribute. You must also be available to attend the June 9th Committee of the Whole meeting at 7:00 p.m. at the Jeffrey D. Schilke Government Center, 100 North Island Avenue, Batavia, for an interview by the City Council. If you're interested in helping shape the city's energy future, we encourage you to apply. Tomorrow, we will post the information on how to apply for the resident positions on the task force. June 2nd will be the last date to apply. June 9th is when the COW interviews will take place. And June 15th will be when the City Council will vote to appoint members of the task force. Does anybody have any questions about that, or? All right, so moving on, got a few more items that I wanted to share with you this evening. Thanks to each and every one of you that attended the farmers market this past weekend. What great conversations that we were able to have with our community. And I too am amazed that you can hand out 600 donuts in just 2 hours. But the Van Laar's donuts are delicious, so gotta have an apple cider donut. It was so successful that we'd like to talk about maybe having one in the fall as well, if everyone would be willing. Zach Ewalt met with the Davenport Group. They're the ones who are our permitting software, and through coordination between the city and the vendor, most of our applications are online at this point. In fact, we've got 33 of them online, so very few remain to get uploaded there. So they've done a great job with that project. Andrea was saying that this week is Public Works Week, and Andrea is going to be at our Batavia Public Library on Wednesday, May 20th at 10:00 a.m. for Truck Tales, where preschoolers come in, and Andrea's going to read them a book, as well as there'll be a truck there for them to crawl all over and have dreams of being future members of our Public Works Department. Also on May 20th, Kane County Division of Transportation is hosting a public information meeting at the Homestead. It's about the proposed improvements at Fabian Parkway between Route 25 and Route 31. Way back when, I'm going to say 5 years ago, it was many residents of our community who took it upon themselves to reach out to KDOT to request that a solution be found. And KDOT has been really working at this plan. It's a very complicated problem with a complicated solution, but they take all the steps that they can. As Mayor had mentioned, there is no public federal funding available for the project at this time, but they're still taking steps to design the project. So at such future date when funding is available, they'll be ready with a shovel-ready project to submit for that funding. We expect the delivery of the public restrooms on North River Street to happen on May 26th. So that'll involve closing the road for a period of time, and a very large crane will be there to set that in place. Probably some good photo opportunities there. Last week, the Public Works staff hosted 9 of our public schools for third grade tours. And it's a really great event. Hundreds of kids show up that day, and individuals within the Public Works Department act as teachers and have classrooms on the various operations that go into Public Works. And I would like to add my gratitude to the members of Public Works, where, today was a perfect example. We all saw the violent thunderstorms that swept through our community, and we know that actually one of our electric poles was hit by lightning and knocked out power to a significant portion of our residents on the southwest side. But it was less than 3.5, 4 hours, and our electric utility had every single person re-energized. And so while we're all 2 hours? 2 hours. That's amazing, Steve. That is amazing.
Steve's response was 3 hours.
Yeah, yeah,
He was busy
no.
out there working on it.
I just can't say enough about the individuals who, while we're standing in our windows looking at these violent storms outside, they're outside working in those conditions to do all that they can to restore our power, to make sure that we have safe and reliable utilities. And I just can't say enough about how grateful I am that they are there 24/7, 365. The fact that the average Batavia taxpayer pays $800 per year for all of these services, including police and fire and community development and all the back office functions, I think it's pretty much a bargain. It really is for all that includes, and the amazing experience that we enjoy here in Batavia. So thank you, Public Works. One other thing that I would like to highlight today is that Sergeant Michelle Langston graduated from the prestigious Northwestern School of Police Staff and Command on Friday, May 15th. And the School of Police Staff and Command is a 10-week-long intensive leadership program for law enforcement supervisors aimed at preparing them for senior leadership roles and expanding responsibilities. But not only did Sergeant Langston graduate from the program, she was elected class vice president by her peers. And this is due to the leadership, professionalism, and respect that she earned among her fellow law enforcement leaders throughout the program. So congratulations to Sergeant Langston. And that's all I have today, unless anybody has any questions for me. Yes?
Mention along those lines that this is EMS week, so thank you to all of our first responders that work for the city. And
Absolutely.
that continue.
Absolutely. Yes.
I want to say thank you to Steve for the very timely updates.
Yes, I know. That with so much detailed information as well. Appreciate the fact that while they're going through solving the problem, they're also pushing out communications to keep everyone informed. Yes.
You know what, the Campana building, so it was mentioned in passing last week. I did just because of on my mind, did take another look at it. It's in rougher shape than I remember. It's now the Lampana building because part of the C has fallen off. And I was wondering, have we talked to the current owner? Because the current owner has done work with distressed properties. They have redeveloped them in the past. Just to ask if we've ever reached out to them, see what their plans are for the building. If they're just going to kind of wait and see, if they're waiting for the market to develop, do they just want to unload it? Just kind of, I think it's worth reaching out and just kind of getting their take on it.
Over the years, we've had a lot of communications with the various entities that have owned that. But Scott, did you want to offer some more detail?
Yeah, I hadn't sent out the email yet, but I was working on the response to your request for information. So yes, we've had a lot of discussions with the various owners over the years. including the current one. We did meet with them right away when they had purchased the property. And so we've been trying to work on some of the issues that are outstanding. Unfortunately, going to get feedback. But we've been trying to work with them to address several issues that, involve property maintenance and things like that. They've been trying to get tenants in there, and that's been their main focus right now, is to try and get the tenants, and we finally have their tenant in there. So that's, helping them bring some revenue in, and hopefully we can get some of the other things. They did contact us about fixing the sign in particular, because they do see that is a visual thing that needs to be done. So hopefully they will be working on that shortly and getting a new sign in there. Obviously, we have to have Historic Preservation Commission approve of that, and that would be one of the steps. But they are working with us to try and get some things done. But it's been a long, slow process, especially since a lot of these things have been before these owners took ownership of it as well. So that's been part of the issue.
Yeah, that Campana building's kind of in the corner of the 3rd Ward there. They reached out to both myself and to Alderwoman Lohman at one point. They gave us a tour of the building, which they said would be open to other folks if you're interested. It's a fascinating building. It is in rough shape in a lot of spots, but you can see kind of both the potential and what it used to be in there. I don't want to speak for them in any sort of way, so these are my impressions. I was impressed, though. They do appear to have a vision, and I know they know about the sign, right? They had asked us pretty explicitly about the sign and what the options were. There's just a lot of, it's in a weird spot because it's both the city, but it's also historic, and it's the punch list of things, of issues with the building are a mile long from before they owned it, and it's only getting worse. So it's a fascinating building that I personally love, but I do think these owners, again, I'm not speaking for them in any way, at least my one interaction or my several interactions with them were pretty positive, so I'm pretty excited to have them as opposed to where it may have had been in past anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the cool part about the current owners is they've done big projects. So they know how to do this. They have that muscle built. They don't have a large front door on the internet or anything, but once you dig into it, you kind of see all the work that they have done over the years. So it's potentially exciting. Okay.
Anybody else on? Floor? We have other business from the council?
So I just wanted to bring up, yesterday Cinco de Mayo had their grand opening. Probably one of the most festive, high energy grand openings that I've seen. I know that I saw you walking off after the speech by the owners and everything, and Anthony was there, but they had dancers, food trucks, music inside, all sorts of samples throughout the store. If you're looking for something super sweet, super yummy for a dessert, definitely a place to check out. They have all these different items from their bakery that they've brought down and put into the store there. So really great to see the community that came out and supported them for this opening event. And right on the inside of the door there, right as you're going to the left and then right to the right, there's a little shop that has different bowls and drinks and everything like that, breakfast type items. So definitely a place to check out, but probably the highest energy of an opening that I've seen from anything.
One of the things I'd add to that is that their delicatessen has become very well known, and they make all their own stuff. They don't bring it in from someplace else. And I've had people from St. Charles now tell me they're coming down here to go to that because it's a great place. Yes.
Yeah, for anyone looking for a good homemade guacamole, some of the big box stores who used to make their own no longer do. Cinco de Mayo does. I brought 2 huge tubs of it over to a party the other night. Everybody loved it. Good stuff. I missed the grand opening though.
Oh, I'm sure if you walk in, you'll still see it decorated, but the dancers and their, music, like a singer inside, music outside, it was
great.
Parking lot was full, street was full. I could just go on and on, but.
I was raising my hand to mention the guacamole too. The guacamole, it was nuts. I bought it on a whim, took it to we had folks over. The next day, I was sent back to go get more. And it's, I'm on the west side, so it's not a convenient drive, but the guacamole alone makes it worth the trip.
And I thought it was running out. They have the little display. Oh, no, don't worry. He's got them hidden underneath. Yeah, he had 2 pounds ready to go for me.
Yeah, they have it portioned,
But, yeah.
but again, the bakery, definitely worth checking, individual cookies, and then also cakes to share and everything. So yummy looking that I had a sugar high, gained 50 pounds walking by.
It's a grocer.
I did not buy any, I will state that. Control.
So under the final item, the mayor's report, I just have one item I just want to quickly share. A week ago tomorrow, I hosted in this room a meeting of the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning in which they invited all the mayors from Kane County to come to Batavia and hear about us and learn about us and whatever have you. And then when that was over with, I had several other mayors from outside the region come by and say that they wanted to know I would be available to take them on a tour of Batavia to see various things they've heard about. One of them is, again, the Quarry swimming pool with how it's all been renovated and remodeled and whatever. But the CMAP staff from Chicago, who's based down at the old post office building and right south by the tollway down there at the entrance, the staff came out and shared that of all the cities, there are 284 cities in the 6-county area that surround, and they are of the opinion that Batavia may be one of the busiest as far as new homes and activities and stuff going on, and a target where many people are thinking about they want to move here. And they said, you got some amenities there. You got a good school system. You've got a good hospital situation now right north of you, and you've got, a good public safety situation set up where, the cops are on the street, they're visible, fire department, the ambulance, the whole bit. It's what all these folks are looking for. And, as you think about it, we have brought 6 new senior living communities into town in the last 5 years, and we are doing a lot of stuff. So they were thinking that they're of the opinion that, and we got some other people that don't know if they think this is going to happen. They're of the opinion that at 2030, when the next federal census is taken, I may have shared this with you already, they're thinking Batavia is going to be over 30,000 people. And that just the numbers that are popping up on the new construction out at the old furnace property out there, I believe there's 163 homes. And they told me the other day that, they've got contracts on over 50 of them right now, and those are rolling pretty quick. And we had the one out on Kirk Road, right off in front of Fermilab there. And that one, I believe, is 241 attached townhomes. Every one of them is totally sold before they were ever closed. And out at the one out there on by Storm School, they're saying they're getting 2 or 3 people a week easily coming in wanting to move into Batavia and live in that subdivision because of the amenities, the closeness to the big commercial area on Randall Road, the hospital, the availability of the tollway and everything else. So we're in the right place at the right time, and we're kind of one that a lot of other towns are looking at as kind of the example of what we should be in their town. And so I'm pleased by that, and I give all you a lot of credit for helping to create the town we've created here, because we've got some nice things happening. And I go in and have a meeting with the mayor of Chicago. That's a totally different story. I mean, he's got all kinds of problems going on in there, and man, we don't have those here. And we started earlier talking about the diversity within the town, and that's a strong point for Batavia. We've got every race, religion, color, and creed, and they all live together, and everybody's working together, and we don't have any of this great fighting going on. And so
what happens when you don't give aldermen budgets to work on and spend in their own ward?
The,
I want aldermanic privilege, darn it.
one sidebar, if you turn on the TV, you hear a lot about the, we're gonna build this new baseball stadium someplace, and, Chicago wants to keep it down there, but I don't think they got any money, so the next runner-up is Arlington Heights. Yeah, football. So anyway, many people don't know about Arlington Heights is the city administrator of Arlington Heights is our former assistant city administrator in Batavia, Randy Reckless. And he's doing a fabulous job over there. I hear from other people in other communities about how he's got command of the situation. And the betting amongst the cities there is that Arlington Heights is going to get whatever it is they're going to build there sooner than later. And so I joked with Reckless last time. I said, well, we were a good training ground for you. He says, yes, you were. So.
I'd like to remind you, you already have one building named after you. We don't need to have a stadium named after you also.
All right, entertain a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.